Today we're talking about the Family Medical Leave Act, the FMLA, and the Americans with Disabilities Act. But before I do, I want to talk to you as a supervisor or a manager. As a supervisor or manager, you now have some influence and power over another human being. You direct, you have some say over what they do, and in some cases, how they do their tasks. Before you became a manager or a supervisor, you had only yourself to manage and a task to accomplish within the company. Probably 80% of your time was given to tasks like burning rods, stocking shelves, serving customers, or accounting. And maybe 20% of your time was spent in relationship with others. In other words, you had to get along with others. You were part of a team. You were civil to others, positive in your interactions with others. But now your life has changed a little bit. You became a manager or a supervisor. The task and the time mix has changed. Now less time is given to task completion, to accounting, or selling, or stocking, or fabricating. And more of your time is spent supporting, encouraging, helping others complete their jobs. You're mistaken if you think your job is still primarily to accomplish a task or do a particular job. Yes, you still have some accounting or some selling, some customer service, some task completion. But now as a supervisor or manager, your relationship to your work is now one of relationships. You have power and some say and some influence over another and how they do their jobs. Your job evaluation has also changed. The criteria now is not how good you are at getting things done, how good you are at a specific task, how well you perform your particular job. Now it's based on relationship skills, interpersonal skills at all levels. Are you helpful to those that you manage? Are you supportive of them, and do you encourage and not demand? Are you experienced by them as positive or as a threat? Do you encourage and bring out the best in them according to their capacities and skill levels? At the end of the day, you've got to be very, very clear. Success for you, your potential for promotion, for more money, for more responsibility, depends on both how you manage others and their success, and you're accomplishing the remaining tasks that still need to be done. Those tasks that only can be accomplished by you. And because you have oversight, because you are watching out for, and because your team is in many ways under your care, there are a few things that you need to be aware of. And that's the subject of today's session. And so that was the introduction. That was the why you're being trained today. Because of those employees that you supervise or manage. So today we're talking about the FMLA, the ADA, and workers' compensation. What will I learn today? Well, this is not going to be a detailed training. It's only a general flyover of the important points. It's to help you become aware when someone inquires about leave of absences or brings up discussions about disabilities. And for you to become aware so that you can refer them to us in the office for instruction, for information, for the help that they need. This is an overview of the Family Medical Leave Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. At the end, there's going to be some questions for you to answer and to return to Jay in order to log this as a training. Additionally, I've included an evaluation feedback form. I need your honest and solution-based responses, and this will help make future training more enjoyable and effective. So let's get started. Who's covered by these two acts? Well, every employee at Valley. And you see there are a number of reasons for a leave, I've listed the major ones here. There are more. So be careful and treat every request seriously. When one comes to your attention, when you become aware of a request, refer. Refer them to the main office. You can also see here there are eligibility requirements. You have to put in 12 months of employment or 1,250 hours leading up to the leave. It can be full or it can be part-time. How long can a leave last? Well, it can last 12 weeks in a 12-month year. Now, year can be interpreted as the hire date, the calendar year, the year beginning when the leave first starts. You see here, leave can be intermittent. It can stop and it can start. It can be so many hours in a day or so many hours in a week. It's very liberally interpreted. Just because somebody comes in and says they want time off doesn't mean they're entitled to a leave of absence. They may be, and we need to explore it. So again, refer to us. Now, who's the HR person at Valley? Well, for now it's me. Someday soon there's going to be an HR specialist, but for now, just refer them to me. The first question someone will have is, well, what about pay? Well, leaves are generally unpaid, except there is a provision for state-sponsored wage replacement. Their health benefits must continue while the employee is on leave, except that now the employee must pay the premium. Reinstatement, that is when they return from a leave, it's at the same or equivalent position. What this means is if you've hired a temporary employee, that temporary must go when the person returns, even if you like that temporary employee better. You will find the company employee handbook a valuable resource for guidelines around the FMLA and the ADA. It's going to be rolling out the beginning of the year, so you as a supervisor, as a manager, must know this handbook well so that you can answer questions your employees bring to you. Now to the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. Who's covered by this act? All employees at Valley. And now I'm only talking about our current employees at Valley, not potential employees, not during the interview process, and not termination cautions. What's a disability? Almost anything can qualify as a potential and a possible disability. Now, there are strict rules about determining, about accommodating, so beware and refer. Again, refer them to the office. Now, this is a minefield. There are terms like essential functions, reasonable accommodation, interactive dialogue, major life activity. Now, all of these have specific definitions and rules around their administration. So what do? You be aware and you refer. There are two words that you need to hear: refer and document. Documentation is something that must happen whether it's in regard to leaves or discipline conversations, performance conversations, training, anything of importance really. It must be documented. If it's not written down, it did not happen. Now, you've heard that said before. If it's not written down, it did not happen. And I can tell you that if the company goes to court, the company will lose on the argument that he said, she said. Even if you note a conversation in a journal that you keep, it's better than nothing, if for no other reason than to refresh your memory if you get summoned in a court proceeding. How do these two acts go together? Say a person returns from a workers' comp injury. They may need an accommodation. So what do? You take it seriously, you don't laugh or you don't belittle them, and you refer them to the office. We will enter an interactive dialogue process. It's a conversation about how we might accommodate a disabled employee. Remember what I said. Everything has a potential to be a disability. The company is obliged by law to strive for an accommodation for this employee. Say maybe they have hemorrhoids. Now we're going to have to talk to them about their hemorrhoids and what can be done for them to continue working. What kind of chair might work for them? Will they need a special cushion or a donut kind of thing for their chair? Will they need time to stand up and stretch? Walk around maybe? Whatever it is, you get the point. I will negotiate an accommodation that works both for the company and for the employee. Workers' comp enters into this discussion. It's called the Golden Triangle, and it's a term used for the interplay of the FMLA, the ADA, and the workers' compensation. So an injured employee might need a leave of absence for a while he recuperates, or an injured employee now returns and has a limitation, and they will qualify under the ADA for an accommodation. Well, we're nearing the end here. The Pregnancy Discrimination Act. Again, there are strict rules about leave, about accommodation, about return to work around this issue. So I just want you to be aware and know when to refer, know when to send them to the office for further conversation. Discrimination is a very important point to this conversation. And you say, what? Me? I don't discriminate. I'm not a biased person. Well, you must be aware of your own biases. You must think long and hard about those areas of potential discrimination for you. And you need to practice each and every day being welcoming, inclusive, open, and noticing when you're not. Well, this will actually make you a better person, more able to enter into a conversation with someone different than yourself. And everybody is different than yourself. This will help you manage better, be experienced by your employees as helpful, kind, and encouraging. But wait, there's more. There's one more term that I want to discuss. It's the adverse action. This is a term used to describe an action by you or another employee that feels to the worker like retaliation, discrimination, punishment, or demotion. It's not just in the arena of the FMLA, ADA, or workers' compensation, that golden triangle. This can be triggered by a legitimate disciplinary action. If you transfer, decrease in pay, demote, or terminate, it can be seen as an adverse action. So what do? You hone your management skills, your communication skills. You know yourself and recognize when you are about to say something that you will regret. That's what we're doing today. We're training so that you will become aware. Now, you don't need to become an expert. You have a staff that will support you. So you just need to be aware and very slow to speak or act in a manner that can be construed in a negative light or in an adverse or seen as an adverse action. Now, we don't need to be fearful. We only need to be wise. We need to be kind, and we need to be aware. Thank you. We are investing time in you because you are worth it. You are valued. You are trusted with a great deal. You're trusted with other human beings, with assets, with property, merchandise, attitudes, image, the company brand, a great deal. So thanks for your willingness to step into supervision or management of others' workplace experience so that they can succeed in their tasks, in their job completion. Now, take the short quiz and do it now. Don't put it off. Sign the quiz sheet and fill out the evaluation form. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you.